Hello and welcome to Maker's Murphy. This is going to be a weird one today. This has nothing to do with woodworking, but I call myself Maker's Murphy because I make all kinds of different things. And one of those things is really weird math problems. This is a problem I've been working on, been trying to figure out for about a decade, maybe longer. It's an idea I came up with, and I love math, but I am no good at creating my own equations. So here's the general premise. The equation for a circle: x squared minus h plus y squared minus k, no, x minus h squared y minus k squared equals r squared. I believe that's right. It's been a while. But what that does is it calculates all the points on a circle from the center point, hk, and what it does is makes little triangles. So let's say the radius is here. Well, it's going to form a right triangle there, there, there. So to calculate um, the hypotenuse of this triangle. So that's all well and good. But what I suppose, or what I presuppose, or what the thought I came up with over a decade ago was, instead of defining a circle by the center point, what if we had a circle and we could define the bounds of that circle? Instead, actually, let me make this a little bit bigger. Instead, the bounds of that circle, instead of from the center, or it could be the center, but any other point within that circle. So let's choose this point here. So instead of drawing those triangles from the circle based off a fixed radius, instead I have a radius that changes as those triangles, the points in the triangles, move. So I have r min, I have r max. So as that radius grows, or as the points move, it's going to change. The variable here is not the, I'm not solving, I know what the radius is. I know what the radius is based off of, I believe, what it would have to be is an integral from r min to r max, which would be defined as the minimum distance from your point to the closest edge of the circle, and then across its diameter to the furthest point. It would have to be across the diameter just by definition. So the hard part is I'm no good at calculus. I failed Calc 3 twice. I understand the concepts in calculus, but the actual math, I don't necessarily understand. What I came up with today, I had a bit of an epiphany, was if I took the integral of x r min to x r max of x minus h squared plus, one moment, sorry about that. So y minus k squared, and I have to have an integral there of y r min to y r max equals integral of 2r dr from r min to r max. Really sloppy handwriting. I apologize. So I realize I have to have a differential term here. I don't know what the differential terms would be here. If I do just the normal equation, but I substitute in the integral from r min to r max of 2r dr, it gives me a circle, but it still bases that circle off the center of the circle. I don't want the center point. I want some other point that's not the center. And even if I define h and k, it turns that into the center. I don't want it to be the center. So something else I came up with today was, well, h would be equal to x r min minus, actually no, what did I come up with? No, h and k is just a point. It was the x value. So x would be equal to h plus the change in x as, well, with respect to the change in radius. Because as, for my circle again, as that r changes, it's actually, it would be, yeah, h plus would probably actually be the dx dr minus h. It's probably the right way to do it. But either way, x is going to change with respect to r changing. That's as far as I can get with this. I really want to figure out what this equation is. This has been driving me crazy for a decade. And every now and then I get a bit of an epiphany. Either I do some research or just something comes to me and I go, oh, this might help me solve it. And I keep hitting dead ends. I've tried the internet, I've tried Reddit, I've tried as many resources as I can. My Calculus 2 professor, people I know that have master's degrees in math and know advanced math, and nobody's been able to help me. So now I'm going to YouTube. Maybe there's somebody out there that either knows or knows somebody who knows that might be able to help me out. But I really want to solve this equation. Now, the whole reason for it originally was because I wanted to see if there was a way that you could describe a circle without using pi. So it would not involve sine and cosine, ultimately, but it wouldn't involve pi. I want to see if there was some other way to describe that relationship. I don't think there is, but that's where I came up with this idea of, hey, if there's some other point. Now, where it gets really interesting, because if I'm across a line on y, right? So parallel with the x-axis, that's all well and good. What gets weird, I discovered today, is if I create an angle. So now my point is there. So my triangles are a lot harder to solve because to make it a right triangle, it's got to be at, well, it would be 90 degrees to that. It'd be perpendicular. So it may involve that. It may involve knowing that the angle here is going to be perpendicular to this line. Or what it would involve is, hey, this point where the y touches is based off of a right triangle here. Even easier to show, say I've got that there. So this has to be perpendicular to that, but to make a right triangle, to figure out that point, would be that. So whatever this is gives me this point. I know this point based off of the length of r. So this becomes my x distance, this becomes my y distance, and then this is a function of those. Anyway, if you can help me out, or if this sparks your interest, I'd love to hear from you. It sounds crazy, and I've talked to, like I said, many different people about this. I put it online, and people just don't seem to understand where I'm coming from. But maybe with a video, maybe explaining it this way. And another way to explain it real quick, I have my circle. I've got this point. I go from r min, and r grows, it sweeps until it's 180 degrees out from R min to become R max. So it gets a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, and the largest it can become is R max. So that gives me half the circle. The other half would just be the inverse of that original equation. So I'm sure a 2 or 1/2 is going to be involved somewhere. But how do I do that? How do I describe it? If I can describe it, if I can draw it, there has to be a mathematical way to describe it. That's just the way math works. That's the beauty of math. Math describes everything in the universe, everything physical in the universe, even some metaphysical. But if I can describe it, if I can draw it, there has to be an equation to get me there. So thanks for watching. Thanks for going a little crazy with me this afternoon. And I hope that there's somebody out there that can help me.